Hey everyone, Randy here, host of the Highest Version podcast, and someone who's just trying to get 1% better every single day to become the highest version of himself. In today's episode, we welcome back Lynn, a former guest on the podcast. Me and Lynn dive deep into the discussion of how we can strengthen our internal validation. Now, for as long as I've known Lynn, she can give two shits if someone has an opinion on her, because that's how well she knows herself. Lynn also talks about balancing worries, anxieties, and understanding when enough is actually enough, as she is striving to obtain her PhD at the moment. Now, I hope you are able to take something from this episode that can help you become the highest version of yourself. So without further ado, hope you guys enjoy the episode. And again, let's strive to become the highest version of ourselves. Love y'all.
Highest Version Podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Highest Version Podcast. I'm your host, Randy Followong, and on this podcast, we talk about falling in love with the process of getting better every day and becoming the highest version of ourselves. Today, we welcome back Lynn. Last time Lynn was here, she talked about how she amended her relationship with her culture and her mom, and also talking about overcoming struggles of fitting in as an Asian American. Now Lynn is in pursuit of her PhD at Brown University and is talking to us today about how she continues to become the highest version of herself. So without further ado, let's welcome back the biggest lover of pink, Lynn.
Yay! I'm not wearing pink today, sadly, but still love pink. That has not changed.
She blew the assignments.
I'm sorry, Randy.
It's okay. And as you can see, we swap places. Today we're trying something new because, we got to make sure our guest is taken care of, right? So Lynn, let's get into it. Let's catch up. It's been almost 2 years since the last time you had your episode.
Oh my God, I thought it was one.
It was one, but we're close to two now.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, that's crazy to put in perspective.
I know. It's crazy because it's like you were one of the first few episodes, and like looking back at the episode, it's like the audio was not up to my standards. But now hopefully nothing goes wrong in this episode, but hopefully the audio stays well fit.
Our host Randy has been working hard to update his lovely space.
Thank you. First question I want to ask is, how is your mental health nowadays?
Good. I would say, yeah. If we recall back to the last episode, 2024, 2 years ago, insane. I kept saying throughout the entire episode that I peaked that year. And Randy was like, no, Lynn, you're not peaking yet. And I can attest to that indeed, that was not my peak. And we're still peaking. So my mental health has been good, honestly.
What has made it so well? Like, what practices have you implemented from the last time that we talked?
I think being ready to be on a different journey. Last time I was here, I was in a different place, a different mindset, ready to be taking on different challenges. And I think that was right before I entered my PhD. So it was that mental ramping up to what is this going to be like? Mm-hmm. And how am I going to handle these things? And I think part of what makes me mentally sane right now during my PhD is that mental preparation that I did, where I was like, I think it's going to look like a little bit like this and that. Here are the few challenges that I could foresee happening in the next years or so. And then just kind of have that preparation for myself, but then also have people around me, people during my PhD that kind of help me navigate those challenges. So it's been steady. It's been good. We are mentally sane.
We love that. All class around. Thank you, audience. Audience claps. I feel like that is such a huge milestone. If you think about when we talked about your college experience and we talked about you growing up, your mental health was all over the place. I mean, whose isn't, right?
Yes.
But how does it feel now to hear that you actually feel that your mental health is actually okay?
It feels kind of amazing, and it feels reassuring to me in a lot of ways, because I think, one of the reasons why I kept being like, oh my God, in 2024 I peaked was because there was in the back of my head that feeling of like, oh, maybe it will go downhill at some point. And because, having been through an episode of crisis, I was like, it's going to come, right? Like another crisis is going to hit. And you almost like, want to mentally prepare yourself for that. So it's kind of insane that it's been 2 years and like I haven't entered crisis mode. I don't want to jinx it.
We're not on wood right now.
I don't want to jinx it, but I think it's kind of amazing to feel like, oh, maybe you can be okay. Maybe even for the rest of your life. It's how I feel right now. It's like, oh, maybe it's possible to not, get that low ever again.
So why'd you always have that expectation of a low? Did you have past things in your past that like every time something was going well, something bad happened? So that kind of trained your brain to be like, okay, after every good thing that happens, there is a bad thing.
I don't think it's specifically that. I think it stemmed from me being a pessimistic person. I am a planner at heart. I prepare for the worst, always in everything I do. And so I think naturally in the back of my head, it's always like, I need to prepare for the worst to happen. And it's always been that way since as long as I can remember. But I think that the difference between back then when my mental health was struggling versus now is that that preparation doesn't feel so daunting. The preparation feels almost like I take pride in it, almost. Like, not that I take pride in being a pessimistic person. I take pride in being a planner. And I feel like as a planner, as a good planner, you prepare for almost every situation as you can imagine in your head that would happen. So before it was kind of like, oh, I'm preparing for the worst because like, of course the worst thing will happen to me. But now it's more like, oh, I'm preparing for the worst because I am a good planner and I am a thorough person and I want to be prepared and I want to be my best when my highest.
Yes.
In any situation. So yeah, it comes from a more positive outlook.
I mean, they do say that preparation is what war is won in preparation. Yes. But doesn't that stress you out a little bit more? Like trying to figure out every single scenario because there's infinite things that could happen in every situation.
That's so real. Yeah, this is something that my lovely partner always keep me in check for. And as much as, each episode, it's about, like this episode is about my story, but you cannot take it out of context in which that I, live in a society where I get a lot of help from people around me, from my friends, from my partner, from my family. So as much as it's like, oh, these are all the things I'm doing to help myself, to better myself. But my partner plays, a big role in that. So yes, I do get stressed out. You can ask Calvin. But he does help me kind of hold back and be like, okay, Lynn, calm down. You prepped enough. And also like, I also am now trying to practice. I think 2 years ago. I keep saying last year. If you really feel like it's only been a year. Time flies when you're having fun.
Oh, yes, it is.
But last episode, I feel like I was in a very figuring my identity out. And it's like, oh, I am this, I am that, I am A, B, C, and D. This year has very much been like balance. It's been about balancing for me. It's like, okay, Lynn, you want to be all A, B, C, and D, E, F, G. But how can we balance that so that you don't go insane? And that you don't, worry yourself to the point where it's no longer helpful and it's detrimental.
Yeah. What does your partner say or do that kind of calms you down? I feel like a lot of us run into situations where we have friends that are like that. Right? They think of the worst case scenario. They try to plan out every single scenario. And sometimes they can stress and spiral. give us a little insight on, what helps you, what words help you, or actions that help you when you're in that kind of mental state.
I think first thing would be the reassurance that your worries are valid. Because nothing drives me even more insane than like being invalidated.
Mm-hmm.
In a sense that like, oh, like why are you worrying so much? Like why are you thinking about all these possibilities? As if they're not valid, as if it's not valid fears. So I think first step would be that validation. And I think second is letting me process it. Process these stress, process these possibilities. And at the end, reminding me that, okay, either whatever I'm worrying about is too far away, and pointing out like how realistic is that? You know what I mean? Yeah, sure, it's one of the possibilities, but the chance is like really, really low. So with that 3 combination, usually it helps me redirect and be like, okay, yeah, yes, it is a valid concern. Yes, you had the space and the time to process your concern. And now, okay, realistically, do you need to be worrying about that right now? Or like, how much is it actually gonna bug you? Or is it even gonna happen in the first place?
Yeah, it's just actually so funny that you are bringing this up, because I'm also someone who thinks the worst case scenario is pessimistic. Do I plan for it? No, not prepared for not as much as you. But I've been trying to diagnose that a little bit more with myself, and I've noticed that my dad has that same kind of tendency. And I don't know if it's scientifically that we obtain the mental health tendencies that our parents do. I'm pretty sure there's some study on it that I should go out and read and figure that out. But I didn't notice that until like last year.
Oh.
And it's so interesting because it's like, why have I not realized this? And just looking at him and how he reacts to the smallest things, he like starts freaking out. What if this happens? What if I don't have money for like retirement? What if what if? And he goes into a spiral, and he didn't have the resources to figure out how to tame that down. And it's funny because my mom's like, I don't know what to do. Like I say, don't worry, and I'm like, Mom, that's not, like you said, that's not validating his feelings at all. It's not gonna help him. Just curious if you have seen that tendency of thinking worst case scenario and preparing like from your parents as well.
That's a great question. I think so. I think my mom. Yeah, my mom. I think that the tendency to think about worst case scenarios a lot of the time spiral out into anxiety, and I'm sure you understand. And I see it so clear and well in her. And kind of just I guess tying it back to what I've been working on this year, which I mentioned earlier, is balance. It's like I used to think that, oh my God, like I cannot be like that, and like I cannot, because it's detrimental, right? But now I have like a newer perspective on that. I think preparing and thinking for the worst, at least to me, that in itself is not the detrimental thing. The detrimental thing is that you let that spiral out into anxiety, and then that halt you from proceeding and from progressing. So knowing how to kind of foresee the future and plan, and be worrying about certain situations, but then know when to stop, because now you're spiraling, and now you're not moving forward, and now you're not doing things that you need to be doing. Knowing when to stop before that happens. Yeah.
So when is that sign of stopping? How do you maintain balance? And that's such a hard word,
Yep, that's what we're gonna learn this year. Hopefully. No, it sounds like it's gonna be like a lifelong
oh yes, for sure,
lesson kind of situation. Yeah, that I honestly right now I don't have the answer for you. I have the steps in which I try to take right now currently, because like I mentioned, it's still something I'm working on.
Yeah. I'll say talk to us about that. Like, what have you tried and what has not
worked? Yeah. I guess maybe using a more concrete example. Like recently, I had my first committee meeting. So as a second year PhD, it's when you set up a committee which is comprised of your boss and also like 3 other PIs, which are like the professors in your program, and they are the one that will single-handedly decide if you proceed with your PhD after your second year, and do you get a PhD at the end. So if you don't meet certain expectation or standards, they'll be the one that's like, okay, yeah, you can't proceed further, or like at the end you're like, you don't get the PhD, something like that.
Okay.
So the first committee meeting is when you first put that panel together. So it's a pretty big deal, is what I'm trying to emphasize. Leading to that, you can imagine.
It's a lot of pressure, yeah.
It's a lot of pressure. And I think the standard was set like to the sky, right? Because also something that I mentioned when I was first here at the first podcast was that I strive for perfection. And maybe perfectionism is not a good thing to, set your standard to, but like that's what I strive for. And so same thing this time with the meeting. There's very, very high expectation I set for myself. But then with that comes a lot of pressure. And how I maneuver around that was knowing that the standard I set for myself is unattainable.
Good awareness.
Yes. First of all, like unattainable, because at my level, you should not be there. You should not be able to get there. But then also, I think as I was going through it, just know that you are putting your best foot forward. And of course, it helps to have my PI, my boss, and fellow students evaluate my work all throughout the time that I was preparing for it. And them being like, yeah, that sounds sound. That sounds good. That's valid, reasonable, what you're saying. Having that helps. But still, literally at the end, my boss was still like, Lynn is so stressed. Like nobody talked to her this week. Like she is so stressed. But I knew I was stressed, but I was not spiraling because I've been there before. Yeah. I know what it's like to spiral. I was not spiraling, and I think it's just like, honestly, just keep telling yourself like, yeah, you set that standard, but like, dude, you're not gonna meet it. But that doesn't mean that your product, the end is not good. It just means that you have really high expectation of yourself.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes any sense.
I mean, it does. I mean, it does in a way of like, it's good that we do have high expectations of ourselves because that's what pushes us to work harder. But the tough part about that is the spiral part, like you said, is being so unrealistic about being 100% perfect. And if you're okay to allow yourself to make mistakes, or in I would say in your presentation case, like maybe not have thinking of every different, like what color is the text and all that stuff, like that's like true perfectionism. Was like, what color am I putting?
2 hours to make my slide pink, the right shade of pink, remaking figures that have already been made by people, but I needed it to be pink.
Oh my god.
That's what we were. Very important. But yes.
Yeah, I think it's like, yes, like we should strive for the highest point. But again, like even with being the highest version of yourself, we know that's something that's a lifelong journey. It's not something that you get 10 years. It's something like I feel like I've been able to accept the fact that I'm going to be working on something more and more, right? And as I start a family someday, it will shift from things about me to about the family. There's also sorts of things that life will present to you to make you change your definition of what the highest version of yourself is.
Yes.
Yeah.
So true. So real. And yeah, I guess that's the theme for this year. It's like, because I've always believed that striving for perfection is not the issue. It's never been the issue to have high standards. It's just that the issue is that with that pressure, people crumble.
Mm-hmm.
People don't proceed because they are so scared that they're not perfect, that they won't be perfect, and then they don't do anything. And that's the issue. Not the setting standard itself, but it's the pressure that comes with it. And so this year I've been really trying to learn how to handle that pressure, to still hold myself to the highest standards, but not let that stop me from actually doing and improving.
Yeah. This could be a very hot take. The quote of pressure makes diamonds. I feel like a lot of people hold that in their head, but at least for me, that quote made me spiral. It made me really be hard on myself, because I'm like, oh, well, pressure's fine. Like, I should be able to handle this. But there is a point where you have to ask for help and to understand, like, hey, the way I'm handling pressure right now is not working. I need to figure out a way to do that. How do you, especially being in a PhD program, you're constantly dealing with pressure. You're constantly having to motivate yourself, because not every day is the same. There's numerous obstacles that you have to go through. How do you stay motivated, and how do you handle that pressure on a day-to-day basis?
To sum up, a lot of internal motivation and a lot of outside support, which is kind of intuitive, I guess, in a way. Internal motivation, it's something that you like have to work at, and I honestly don't know. I don't know who to give credits to. In terms of like, I think I have a very strong internal like motivation. And I don't really know who to give credit to. I feel like that must have come from my parents. Like that must have started somewhere, but obviously I developed it subconsciously or consciously or subconsciously. I worked at it, and it's gotten to the point where now I can see so clearly that I am not one of those people that's purely seek external validation. Like, I have so much internal motivation for myself and internal validation. I don't know like how it got to this point, but this year I've really been able to see that and use it to my advantage. And then second point I made, which is external help. I, for a long time, still to this day, like have a hard time asking people for help. But this year has really, it has really improved this year, because I realized, like, it's not like I didn't realize that, you know, you can't do things alone. But I finally like find the courage to just be like, if I'm struggling with something, I ask for help. Crazy idea. Asking for help. Oh my God. But to be more like, to have a specific story, in my lab, I have mentors when I first joined, who it's like a older PhD student that basically trained me and guide me for the first 4-5 months or so. Then she graduated and has moved on to a new position. I remember at the beginning, it was like I worked very hard to kind of prove to her and to my boss that, like, oh, I'm this capable PhD student. I can do stuff on my own. And then, funny enough, like when she left, you know, she was very kind enough to still always tell me, like, reach out if you need help. If you need help. And I was like fighting demons. To like, every time I'm like, I want to ask her for help, I'd be like, oh, but you need to prove that you can do it on your own. Fighting demons about just asking for help. And I remember like one One day where I've been putting off this experiment for like a long time because it's something that's new, like brand new to me. So there was that pressure of like, oh my God, like starting something brand new that you don't know, you've never done before. I realized I was putting it off for like a month by then. And I finally texted, her name is Sam, by the way. Shout out to Sam. Not that I'm trying to hide your name for no reason. I finally texted Sam and I was like, Sam, I realized this about myself. I've been putting this off because I don't know how to do it. And so the pressure has gotten to me. Please give me doable, what do you call it?
Practical.
Actionable items?
Yes.
Is that what this called?
Yeah.
Please give me actionable items that I can do within the next week. Like, it could be anything simple. And she immediately like texted me back and was like, you can practice doing this. And you can reach out to this person to get training on this. Super simple. Definitely something I could have thought of myself. But I was so happy that I reached out because it was like, yes, it's simple, but when you're under pressure, your brain is not braining. And recognizing that I was doing that, recognizing the pressure was getting to me and it's affecting how I deal with this and asking for help. And knowing what to ask, right? Because I could have just vaguely asked him, Sam, like, please help me. And then, like, that's it.
Yeah.
Then, like, she wouldn't really know, like, what does Lynn need? Like, does Lynn need, like, a 1 month layout plan? Or does Lynn needs, like, encouragement words? Like, what does Lynn needs? But I was very specific about what I needed. Like, tell me to start on something that is doable in the next week. And that will get the ball rolling. And it did. It did. Immediately after she told me that, like, my head just cleared up. I was like, okay, so after we do this next week, we're going to do that. Then follow with that. And then da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
So I was like, thank God, Lynn. Thank God you got over your demon and just asked for help.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think those two things. Internal motivation and just ask for help.
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't have said it perfectly about how sometimes when emotions are high and the pressure is high, like, we can't think simple.
Yeah,
we just overcomplicate things.
Literally.
And I as you were talking about that, I was like, yeah, thinking about going through tough times, whether that's, a breakup or rough times with friends or something like that. Like, you know what you need to do. It's like the thing is, like, you know what you need to do, but you never do it because of all the emotions and things that are in your path.
Yeah.
And sometimes we get in our own way and we are stuck on this one perspective, and that one perspective is our own. And by asking other people, they can really just shed light on those simple things. And
yep.
I just don't know why we get in the way of ourselves. Maybe it's like pride. Would you say it's pride for you, or?
It's just crumbling under the pressure. Literally, I think for everyone that pressure looks different, right? Whether it's the need to prove yourself to your boss, or just like, oh, if I ask them, then they think I'm useless. The fear of being viewed and judged a certain way, I think it's different for everyone. But to sum it up, it's just like you just freaking crumble under the pressure.
Yeah. And then, something else that you brought up is internal and external validation. I think we brought this up in the first episode, but your internal validation is super high. I mean, this is what you said earlier. But some people struggle with that. Right? We look for external validation about either how we look, how we are as a personality wise, anything like that. What have you done to make your internal validation so strong?
That's a lovely question. Great question. I spend a lot of time thinking about what I want. Period. I just for context, of course I have external validation. I think we need both. I do get a lot of, pride and sense of self from external validation too. It's not just internal. I don't think anyone can solely be internally validated, motivated. But for me is how I have continued to strengthen my internal motivation and internal validation is through spending a lot of time thinking about what I want in life, what I want in a PhD, what I want this week to look like for me, what I want my life to be, how I want my relationship with my parents to be, how I want my relationship with Randy to be. Spending a lot of time thinking about that, because once you have a goal and once you have a clear sense of what you want, you have a clear sense of who you are. Because you know what you want, you know the kind of person you are. And then that in turn, that is what I use in moments where I start to be like comparing myself to other people, seeking that external validation from other people. It really helped me ground myself, because I'm like, okay, externally, society is telling you to be this way. Does that make sense for you? Does that, okay, if you do it this way, does that align with what you want in the future? Is this how future Lynn wants to live? Is this how her life? Would this contribute to the life that future Lynn envisioned for herself? And if it's no, then no.
Then don't do it.
Then no, yeah. And yeah, I hope that kind of answers it. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, just to dig a little bit more, we go throughout life, and I'm trying to think of all the experiences that I had where I seeked external validation, specifically from my parents. I know that was a big one, trying to strive for A's, but killing myself to get those A's, right? So that they could be proud. I've realized that my parents' reaction to great accomplishments is so bad. I've accepted the fact that, like, I'm just going to get a thanks or good job. Yeah, nice. And you're like, are you kidding me? Like,
or like, most of the time it's more like, okay.
Yeah, like, okay, and like, I just killed myself for this.
Yeah.
But there's also, we are comparing ourselves a lot to, especially our age, people our age that are maybe not in a relationship or not in the career that they want, right? A lot of comparison and externally trying to find external validation that they are on the right path. How would you say or how do you block that outside noise so that you can ask yourself that question of, well, what does future Lynn want? How do you block that outside noise?
I don't think I block it, Randy. I think it's more like I spend so much time thinking about what I want in my life and what I envision it to be like, that by the time the noise comes inside, I just have, like, for lack of a better word, like I have like a print in my head of like, does that match with point A, point B, point C? And then I just go, oh, it doesn't match like at all to any of these. Discard. Like, so I don't block it. I just spend so much time working on that print that by the time the outside noise get in, I just have like a reference to compare it to. It's like, okay, outside noise. Okay, does that match any of the things that I have listed for myself, have made out for myself? It does not. And then I just discard it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, it definitely does. And I'm thinking about the situation, like if we were to create a hypothetical situation here. If someone was like, let me think. If someone said, lean.
Lean.
if
new personality.
if someone like was spreading around like, oh, Lynn's mean, or Lynn's like not actually a good person. How do you deal with like that kind of outside noise? I guess you could say.
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
That's a great example, Randy, because I did deal with that a couple years ago. But I think it ties back so well with what I'm saying. So when that happened, like in my life, when someone said something about me that was like Lynn goes, oh, that's crazy. What happened at that time was I went down. Like I was knocked down because of what that person said. The reason why I was knocked down, because that part that person accused me of was not in the blueprint.
Right.
So I didn't have a definition for myself of what myself is, of what that person was accusing me of. Sorry, these a lot of wordings. And so when that person said, like, for lack of a better word, let's say that they said I was mean, right? I hadn't worked through if Lynn believes that Lynn is mean yet at that time. So when they was like, Lynn is mean, I was devastated for a whole week. I was like, genuinely, like, I like had to go back to therapy kind of situation, because I was like, oh my God, like, am I mean? Have I been mean this whole entire time and I didn't know? Like, oh my God, like it took a hit. Then I came out of it because I took the time to be like, hey, Kelvin, can we talk? Do you think I'm mean? Like, do you think I display these behaviors as that person said? I talked to other friends. I talked to coworkers. Literally, I talked to everyone, because I talked to people that knew me. I even selectively talked to people that knew me but were not my friends, because I was scared of bias. Right. I was scared that if I went to Randy, he would just be like, yeah, Lynn, of course you're not mean, because he's my friend. So I proactively was like, I'm going to go to people that know me, because people that don't know me wouldn't know if I was mean or not, right? But people that knew me but like have no close relations with me at all, that they would need to be biased and uphold some sort of nice sayings about me. And after talking to like probably like 15 different people, where they were like, no, I like throughout the times I know you, like you don't display these behaviors. You know, I don't think of you as a mean person. And then on top of that, on top of seeking that external stimulus, for like a better word, I also did a lot of reflecting on myself, being like, okay, do you notice that you've displayed these beliefs or these feelings, these behaviors? And no matter how long I thought about it and how hard I thought about it, I just couldn't think of things that I was doing that would makes me mean. And again, just to remind the reader, it wasn't mean. Mean wasn't the word. I'm just using it as like an example. But finally, after all that external, internal, everything, it came out to be like, I concluded that no, I am not mean. And period. Like, but that's what happened when you don't already have an answer for yourself, right? And I thought that was really good, like, story that you brought up, because I think it's so relevant. So that's kind of what I mean when I say if I don't have already a definition of myself, who I am, if I don't know myself, I get knocked down like that.
Yeah.
And not to say that it's like a bad thing or anything. I think sometimes you just need to do some heavy reflecting.
Yeah.
Some heavy like self-check. I think it's helpful at times. Yeah.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing that and bringing us through an example and how you were talking through. I think it made a lot of sense and was a great way to explain that, you know, getting to the definition of who you are, who you think you are at the time is very important. Having that blueprint or having that list of, you know, this is the type of person that I feel like I am, or I am confident that I am. So when this outside noise comes in to try to break that up or defy those things that you internally strongly know, it can be prevented for you being knocked down by sticking with that definition. But then again, it's also having open-mindedness of like, am I doing those things? Asking yourself the right questions, right? Like you were. And
very important.
And that's something that I wish I did back then, before I went into depression, because I felt like if I asked myself those questions, I would have understood that, you know, these actions that I did, yes, I know like would hurt someone, but or could hurt someone, but does that make me a bad person? No.
Mm.
But back then I didn't know that. Back
Yeah.
then I was like, you're clearly a bad person because this amount of people told you that you were. And that broke me. That obviously
Right.
it broke me down
Yeah.
to rock bottom.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, thank you for bringing that up.
Mhm.
Hey everyone, Randy here. Just interrupting this episode to introduce you to a member of the highest version community. If you're looking to support a small artist, check out Connie OMG on Etsy. Connie creates original artwork and thoughtfully designed stationery, including stickers, art prints, postcards, notepads, and more. Whether you're decorating your space, personalizing your everyday essentials, or searching for a unique gift, there's something for everyone. Visit connieomg.etsy.com to browse the collection and support an independent artist. So Lynn, we talked a lot about, just on different things that have helped you during your PhD journey. But what I really want to know, and the big question is, how are you becoming the highest version of yourself today?
Oh boy. Big question, Randy.
Yes, big question.
Big question. I would say 2 years ago, Lynn was very focused on self-improvement. So very much like focused on myself, developing me as a person. Now we're in like a new chapter of our lives where becoming the highest version of myself now means taking on more external responsibilities. So what that looks like to me is now it's no longer like Lin. I have 2 nieces now.
Oh my God, I forgot. Congratulations.
Thank you. Chloe was just born a month ago. And Ivy is now almost 7.
Oh my God, is she jealous?
A little bit, but we're working on it. That's part of why Auntie Lynn comes in. Now we have a new persona, Auntie Lynn. So yeah, I think my journey of becoming the highest version of myself is no longer like, okay, what Lynn needs, what Lynn wants. How can Lynn be better for herself? But now it a little bit bigger, that how can Lynn be a good auntie to her little 2 nieces. And it's been a beautiful journey. It's been a different journey, but it's been really nice. Yeah.
What values do you want to pass on to them as the auntie?
Holy, I have a list.
We were talking about blueprint and list. It's one of them.
Yes,
this is one of them.
The blueprint, the blueprint. The blue Lynn. Blue Lynn. The blueprint is set for them. Just kidding. No, I'm trying to not be one of those like tiger
aunties.
Tiger auntie. As if tiger mom is not enough. No, tiger auntie. What values? Oh my God. Oh, so many. Yeah, no, I actually do have a blueprint. But as Uncle Kelvin try to keep crazy Auntie Lynn in check, he does try to help me narrow down on the things I want to pass on. Yeah, the pressures start young, as you can see.
Hey, honestly, a little trauma in some people's lives, not that bad.
We all need that.
Not that bad.
No, not what I'm trying to. Not the brand. Not the brand. Not the brand. A little trauma goes a long way. No. Okay, what's been like the number one value that I've been trying to instill in them? I think it's been like resilience. Yeah, I guess so. I know it's a big word, but resilience, like it, to me, breaking it down comes in different forms. So, for example, my poor little Ivy was kicked in the stomach today at soccer, hopefully by accident.
Wait,
better
like
be by accident.
The ball kicked in, like someone kicked the ball and then the ball hit her stomach, or
no? I think someone was trying to kick the ball, but kicked like her because they were too close proximity.
Was she like on the floor or like I know
physics is not physics, but at least that's what I hear from her mom.
Okay.
So I might have to get the story. And anyways, all I know is that Ivy was kicked in the stomach somehow.
Poor Ivy.
Poor Ivy. So she went to her mom crying, and I was, as my sister was telling me this story, I was like, oh my God. Sucks for her. But it happens in sport, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was trying to tell her, like, oh, like, you know, please, when you talk to her about the situation, like, make sure you try to talk it through to her so that she's not afraid to go to soccer. Just because, you know, maybe kids misbehave or like unfortunate accident like this happens.
Right.
So yeah, I think it's been, for this month at least, it's resilient. Next month it might be something else. I don't know.
What things have built your resilience? Like what life events have made you resilient?
I'm not Randy.
What do you mean you're not? You're in a PhD program. How can you not be resilient?
Sometimes I try to instill things in Ivy and Chloe, and then my own aunt and uncle call me out. I was like, "You're not like that," and I'm like, "Stop, stop. We're working on it."
You're like, "Don't call me my bullshit, please."
Just because I'm trying to teach them doesn't mean I have it. Knowing what I want, it all comes back to my blueprint.
Comes back to the blueprint.
It all comes back to the blueprint. It's like I'm so intentional about who I want to be, who I want to become, that like if people get in the way of that, I am protective of it because it's my future, it's my life, is who I am as a person or who I will be as a person. Very, very important things to me. So then when things get in the way of me pursuing that, I get protective and therefore I become resilient because, you know.
No one's my blueprint. My God, now you got me saying blueprint. This last like 2 episodes ago, I couldn't say I can't say it now.
Unapologetic?
Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. Unapologetic. Wow, thank God. It didn't take me 5 takes to do it. But anyways.
It's blueprint for this episode.
Me no speak English. I gotta go back to ESL. That's the first episode. If you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
Resilience is such a. You feel like it's something that can come natural, especially for us that grew up with immigrant parents. But you know, this is something that you kind of have to teach. I feel like some people in the younger generation are so quick to be like, well, I don't know how to solve this, right? So creating those critical thinking skills, especially I don't want to bring AI into topic, but with ChatGPT, right? It's like, how are you building those critical thinking skills and resilience to figuring out the problem if you are relying on something to tell you what the answer is?
Oh, so real. I've been watching a lot of like child developmental videos, low-key against my will, because as you might know, I don't want to have kids in the future. But because of my nieces, that's where we're on. And it from, at least from what I've researched, everything start from a young age, yes. But it start from young where I think a lot of the time our immigrant parents really try to problem solve for us as much as they can. Because it's like, the idea is like, oh, if I can help my kids out, like, why wouldn't I?
Right.
But confidence, resilience come from confidence that start then when they are allowed to problem solve on their own, figure it out on their own. Sure, they might choose the most inconvenient solution, makes no sense to you, and you can get it done like that. Whereas they might take like a whole business day. But you have to give them that space to figure it out.
Yeah.
Because from then they will build confidence that, oh, I can solve things on my own. And then in turn with that confidence, they build resilience. Because then they're like, okay, I know if I just keep going at this problem, I will figure it out eventually.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just unfortunate that sometimes parents put guilt along with like, if I can help my kid, then like I will, because that's what my parents throw, like, at least when I was younger, they threw a little dash of like guilt along with it, right? So say if I needed money or I needed something done to the car or something like that, they'll be like, they won't say then, but like, oh, I got your car fixed, and then after they'll be like, well, yeah, like, because I I pay for all your car fixes and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, so you're using guilt against me to make me feel bad, to make me realize about, I can't live without you, or whatever like that.
Yeah.
And it's tough because it's like, I even have conversations with, my partner in the earlier stages of our dating. She's like, you had everything given to you. And that was like such a shock for me because I was like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm mentally like hardworking and all that stuff. But that only came to school. When it came to everything else, it was like, oh, so it was like kind of a shock / a wake up call. So I recently just paid off my student loans, like by like helping with my parents and paying that off. And I was like,
it's a big deal.
Trying to figure that out, right? To do that.
Yeah.
But also when I realized even my own work career, if there's a problem, sometimes I will instantly try to go to my boss and be like, what should I do? Right? But like, they're not going to value someone that asks, what should I do? They're going to value someone who gives a proposal, no matter if the idea or solution is quote unquote stupid, that at least they took the time to think of something. Yes. Right? And I totally agree with you with the kids. Like, even my nephew, it's like, if he falls, they say like, don't be like, are you okay? Right? Because that's being coddling them and giving them the solution, right? It's like, okay, you fall, what happens? You figure it out. Is everything okay? Yeah, everything is okay. Yeah.
It's funny that I think literally 30 minutes in the first part of this episode, we talked about asking for help, right?
Yeah.
And then now we're talking about figuring it out on your own. But that's the beauty of this episode.
Yes. Balance.
Please put like a SpongeBob, like.
Yes, I got you.
Balance. Because that's what we strive for. Balance in having enough confidence to problem solve on your own, but also know when to ask for help.
Yeah. Well, I think at a young age, you should develop those skills, right? And then when you get older, you realize when you just, like you said, like you need to ask for help. Like at this point, you're just going in circles and you're not going anywhere, right? At that point, it's like, okay, I need to ask for help. How has that dynamic been in terms of being an auntie and trying to develop someone young in this day and age? Like, have you ever thought about how you were developed, like when you were younger, and trying to not project, but trying to emulate that with your new niece?
Dude, all the time. Honestly, it's like actually so much pressure. Like, I put so much pressure on myself to be a certain type of aunt to them. And funny enough, like that pressure overflow into Kelvin as well, because he's now just not just Kelvin, he's
Uncle Kelvin.
And if Auntie Lin is certain way, then Uncle Kelvin better be a certain way as well. And that's been something kind of beautiful that both of us have been navigating together. What was the original question? I'm sorry.
The original question is, what have you tried to emulate of how you were brought up and putting that on your new niece or even Ivy?
Yeah. This kind of ties beautifully back into the first episode, where I think I share a lot about my relationship with my mom, how I was raised by her and how I idolized her at the beginning, and then things kind of fell apart. And now we're trying to work on that relationship again. In me continuing to work, even though I didn't spend a lot of time in this episode talking about that, it's something that's continually I'm working on, right? Bettering my relationship with my mom. If you asked me this like 2 years ago, I would have been like, I don't want any part of my childhood to be part of Ivy's and Chloe's childhood, because there was so much like, I just found so much flaws. I was so hyperfixated on the flaws that like, oh, I was raised this way. That's why I'm like not confident. That's why I needed time to figure out myself. And that's why I wasn't good at being resilient, that kind of thing. But I was sitting here now. I recently did an exercise with my therapist where she asked me to write down the things about my mom that I like and admire, like, essentially positive things of that sort. And to my surprise, there are a lot of things where I was like, yeah, I definitely got my stubbornness from her. I got my vocalness from her. Like, I speak my mind. I'm very opinionated. I got that from her. And that in turn made me kind of reflect back on how she raised me. And what are the little things that she did that like instilled that in me when I was younger. And in that realization, then I was able to be like, okay, actually there are some good things about the way I was raised, I guess. And then in turn, like now I try to implement that with Ivy and Chloe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's surprising how as we got old, we grow older and we look back at those times as a child, or like how like I would never do the things that you done to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we turned out to be like actually like really, you know, successful people or working to be successful. And it just goes to show like when you have that time to reflect, you realize all these certain things. It's just in the moment, right? There's high emotions and you could be just focused on just either all negative or even all positive.
Yeah. Dude, like I think it's just part of life.
Mm-hmm.
It's I remember seeing this meme where it's like two parents and then the child, and then the parent, one of the parent in their head, like the little speech bubble was like, I will never pass down the trauma that my parents caused me. And then the other partner was also the same speech bubble.
Mm-hmm.
And then their little child with the little speech bubble was like, oh my gosh, shit, I'm gonna butcher the words, but it was like, basically essentially saying that child actually now has his own set of trauma.
Yeah.
So in a way, it's funny because, you know, we sit here and we talked about, yeah, of course we would never want to pass X, Y, and Z down.
Yeah.
But I've come to the realization, you know what? If I have children, they're going to be traumatized.
It's what makes them
in different ways.
Yes.
It goes around. And we are unfortunately a lot like our parent. Unfortunately or fortunately, a lot more like our parents than we want to believe.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay. Like accepting that, like be at zen with it.
Yeah.
And just keep swimming. And they keep trying to figure out what you like, what you don't like.
Mm-hmm.
Fight for your standards. Have a blueprint.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's taking what you learn and reflecting on that time to be like, what do I want, Emily, and what I don't, right? Yeah. We all have a choice at the end of the day to yes. We all have a choice to figure out like what we want to do. Mm-hmm. And that's like completely okay. So Lynn, I just want to say, you know, thank you for coming on and talking about how you're becoming the highest version of yourself today. What has helped you become the highest version of yourself up to this point? And obviously me and a lot of the audience is rooting for you to continue on with your PhD. And hopefully everything went well after the meeting. And just want to say thank you for our friendship. Thank you for coming on and taking the time. And thank you for yapping with me.
Yes. And all goes back to you as well, because thank you for having this platform. Thank you for having me. And it's a really lovely chance to yap.
Isn't it crazy that our relationship turned out this way from college?
Yeah. I think about that all the time.
Yeah, I think about Lynn falling. I'm just kidding. Yeah. That clip will be in the Patreon. Just kidding. All right, Lynn, let's get into the big 3 questions. These are the last 3 questions that can leave a final impact on our viewers. And I'm playing around with it, trying to figure out what would leave that final impact. And my first question to you is, what's something that you can be kinder to yourself about?
Oh, beautiful question. Oh my God, Rainy, you're just like hitting all the points today. What's going on? We did not talk before this, by the way.
No, we did not.
This is unscripted. Yeah, this is something I want to talk about, actually. So yes, I did have something, but it went blank earlier. Be kinder to myself about yes, you have that high expectation of yourself, but you don't have to be all A, B, C, D, and E all at the same times. And what I mean by that is, I'll lead with a very concrete examples again, because I seem to can't explain myself without examples. I recently was at a women's summit for Women History Month, where women in leaderships, there were 4 that were invited to speak about their experience, navigating leaderships, navigating the world, being women and being in leaderships. And a beautiful question was asked to the panel, was that, do you make compromises? How often, and like, how do you deal with that? And one of the speaker was like, yes, compromise all the time. She is a conservation biologist. So she works in like I think Peru, on like multiple different projects, but basically the idea is to conserve like, part of the Amazon, or a species that is on the path to extinction, that sort of work. And so she was like, am I a feminist? Yes. But I am a conservation biologist before I am a feminist. And what does that mean is that when I walk into a room in which the goal is to get funding for my conservation effort, do I have to dress a certain way to impress people? Do I have to show up a certain way as a woman? Yes. Is that very feminist of me? No. But at the end of the day, I'm going in there, and my priority is always that I am a conservation biologist before I am a feminist. And so what that means is that I just have to compromise on the feminism side to go in there, do my part, look a certain way to say certain things to get the funding that I need to do my job. And I thought that was beautiful, because that's something I've been working on very, very hard this year, is to be softer on myself when I am not everything that I want to be. I want to be all this. I want to be all that. I want to succeed in my PhD. I want to be the best partner to Kelvin. I want to be the best daughter. I want to be the best aunt. I want to be politically active. I want to be feminist. I want all of these things I want. And I set, goals for myself of how I should be. But I am rarely ever meeting my own expectations. And so to hear that speaker say that, and all of the women in the rooms were like, yes, we do that all the time. It's very comforting. And it's good for me, because I'm like, yeah, Lynn, like, it's okay. You make compromises every day, and that's a normal thing. And that it just has to happen, and you cannot be everything and all of these things all at once, because it's just not possible. So that's something that I am actively working on, being kinder to myself about. Essentially, I calm the fuck down. Like,
I mean, if we think about high achiever mindset, high performance mindset, we want to be a lot of things. If you look up on past that camera, you'll see my 2026 bingo card.
Ooh.
And it's everything that I want to accomplish in 2026.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I don't think I'm going to accomplish 75% of that. And I think in relation, if I'm going to compare it, it's like every time we go into the new year, we want to do this and we want to do that. There are so many things that we wanted to do, but we have to realize like those things are not going to happen overnight. Those things are not going to happen all at once. This year you may be focused on your finances, or and then next year you can work on your mental, or it's just understanding, giving yourself grace that like you're not going to be able to obtain everything. Yeah. And it's not saying that it's not possible, but it's just going to take time.
It's going to take time.
Yes.
Seasons come and go. Yeah. I've really been like trying to be on theme with that. Like, you have your seasons where like, okay, this year I'm going to be the best feminist anyone could, ever be. And then next year it'll be like, okay, I need to like dial that down because there are other works that I'm focusing on, and that kind of thing. Yeah.
If we had unlimited energy, I'm pretty sure we would be able to do that, do all that stuff.
No, if only.
My second question to you is, what's the best investment that someone can make within themselves?
Does this just go back to my blueprint? Everything goes back to my blueprint. And like yeah, that's what I can think of right now, Randy. Like the whole theme of like, no, spend a lot of time thinking about what you want, who you want to be, what you want to become, and all of that. Because I think that has helped me battle, that have helped me through every battles that life has thrown at me, is just have that blueprint.
Yes.
So I would say that that's the best investment one can have.
Wonderful. My last question to you is, for someone that's going through or for someone that's trying to figure out life, or someone that's dealing with low self-worth, if there is something that you could say to them, what would that be?
It's hard because usually when people come to me, I'm like, be better, do better. So I feel like I'm the worst person.
And then they're like, ugh.
I feel like people can attest to this. From experience, like I feel like a realistic advice would be like, do a lot of things and try everything out, because you're bound to find things that you're good at. And do not ever like pin your personality on one single thing. Funny, because I feel like I'm doing that with my PhD. But the PhD and my science is something I take a lot of pride in. But I also actively work to not make that my whole and only personality. And I think that helps a lot with self-worth and how you see yourself. And yeah, I've heard that advice somewhere where it's like you need to kind of divide out. You can't just pin your whole self-worth on one single thing, because when that crack will fall, which happens because it doesn't reflect who you are. It just reflects, well, it reflects partly of like a lot of situations. You know what I mean? Like I could have dropped out of my PhD first year, by the way. And if I had pinned my whole self-worth on the PhD, that dropout would have been detrimental. But I was ready to go. Why? Because that wasn't my whole personality. And understanding that my dropout would have been reflection of the administration and what's happening with cutting, with funding cuts in under this administration. So it has absolutely nothing to do with me. But if I had pinned my whole personality on that PhD, that would have been devastating. And this is something I would have done 5 years ago. Like Lynn from 5 years ago would have pinned her whole self-worth, did pin her whole self-worth on academic validation. And so when things crumble, not even because of me, it would have been devastated. So I guess a practical advice for people dealing with self-worth is just that everyone's good at something. You just gotta find it, and then you find a lot of things that you're good at.
Yes.
So that you don't pin it on one thing.
Yes, we are multifaceted individuals that don't have their self-worth based on only one thing. That's why I'm really against people that make work their life.
Yes.
And we talk about athletes too. You know, it's those school athletes that don't go professional, that make their personality or their life based on like that one thing. I'd get it. You know, it's something that you've been going through all your life, but you gotta have other things that you like about yourself, or things that you want to explore. If we're talking about exploring too, you travel the world by yourself. So like you've probably also seen things and, you know, experienced things that have also helped you with your self-worth and in terms of being able to navigate things by yourself. And also just getting that exposure to things to figure out like what you like and what you don't, and what really brings value to your life versus what doesn't. So period. That's how we're ending the podcast. If you liked any part of this episode, clip it, tag me and Lynn in it. And as always, let's fall in love with the process of getting better every day and becoming the highest version of ourselves. I love y'all so much. Bye.